Greetings and welcome to our daily Devo for Thursday, the 15th of June today. We're still in Jerusalem, can't get away from it yet. And yesterday was David's palace. Today is Herod's palace. We find reference John chapter 18, verse 28, on over to chapter 19, verse 16. And they quote from chapter 19, verse 13, "When Pilate heard this, he brought Jesus out and sat down on the judge's seat at a place known as the stone pavement, which in Aramaic is Gabbatha." Everything about Herod's palace was meant to impress visitors and intimidate the locals. This is where Jesus' civil trial took place before Pilate in John 18:28 and 19:13. Yet in the case of Jesus, it failed to have its intended effect of terrifying the person on trial. It's difficult to pick out the design and nature of Herod's palace from what's left of the structure, so we need to reconstruct our impressions based on the ruins we can see and the descriptions we find from first century writers. This luxury palace sprawled between the modern Jaffa Gate and the southwestern corner of the modern Old City walls. While most people of Jesus' day lived in homes with only one or two rooms, this palace had hundreds of rooms. The park-like center of the complex was open to the sky and featured groves of trees, flowing streams, and walking paths lined with ornate works of art. It was home to the elite, a place the first century historian Josephus called, quote, "wondrous beyond words," unquote. By the time of Jesus' trial, Herod the Great was dead. Rome ruled the land with governors who used Herod's palace as their residence while in Jerusalem. They used it to intimidate the locals. As governor, Pontius Pilate was both the political face of Rome and the empire's chief judicial officer in the region. In his court, there was no jury. Pilate heard the evidence and handed down the verdict, which could only be overturned on appeal before the emperor in Rome. To make matters worse, Pilate was politically compromised. News of Pilate's insensitivity, cruelty, and poor leadership had severely eroded the Roman Senate's confidence in him. Pilate's final years in office were marred by erratic verdicts, which were increasingly subject to bribes and the influence of the aristocratic Jewish priests. This is the intimidating and unstable setting Jesus enters for his civil trial. He is quickly confined in an unfamiliar building, separated from his associates, surrounded by Roman soldiers, and accused of a capital crime. All as he stands before an unpredictable judge. Yet it isn't Jesus, but the judge who seems intimidated. Jesus' calm demeanor and confident responses recall the language of Psalm 2. When the political forces of the world band together against the Lord's anointed, quote, "the one enthroned in heaven laughs, the Lord scoffs at them." That's Psalm 2, verse 4. Many places and people in this world intimidate us. They intimidate us, but they don't intimidate Jesus. And we see it here. The place so very carefully designed to intimidate is instead intimidated by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I so love and appreciate these reminders like this, because all too often I sense from too many who have put their faith in Christ, I sense a fear of the powers of man, of the reach of man into us, into our lives, impacting, affecting, controlling, diverting our money, our time, our whatever. Jesus is not intimidated. And since we belong to him, we're not our own, we've been bought with a price. Why are we intimidated? We can look at it, we can assess the situation. But why fear? We've not been given a spirit of fear. We have not been given a spirit of fear. We need to take courage from the fact that we follow the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and we are his. And not be worried about the next governmental decision. Not be worried about rights and privileges and just all the mess that's going on in our world today. There's no need to be afraid. Not be intimidated. What can man do to us? Jesus would ask. You be concerned about the one who, not man, they may be able to do something to us physically. Not intimidated. Be concerned about the one who has charge over us, body and soul. 2 questions today. How does the place of Jesus' trial before Pilate impact your understanding of Jesus' experiences there? Again, meant to intimidate, put fear in his heart, get him to fess up to the charges. Jesus, I'm sure he didn't do it outwardly, but I like the reference to Psalm 2:4. Inside, I know I would have a tendency to see they're trying to impress me and just scoff, smirk. That would come from my fallen nature. I don't think Jesus did that. He understood this was what it was all about. And yet he was not intimidated. He knew he was carrying out the Father's will, and he was going to that cross no matter what they tried to do. Second question, how can this story of Jesus help when you feel intimidated? Learn from him as our master, as our example. Our prayer for today, Lord, help me. Help me appreciate what your trial and its location say about you. Anyone else would have been intimidated. You were not. Remember, Peter, a young girl, says you're one of them, and he's intimidated by that. Here stands Jesus in front of all the power that there is from Rome and Israel in an impressive place. Anyone else would have been intimidated. He was not. Help me find confidence in the control you have over the most powerful things in life, so that I can feel more confident when facing situations that otherwise intimidate me. Great prayer. Remind us, Lord, you're in charge. Blessings to you today.